Every big shift in history started quietly. Electricity didn't announce itself. The internet didn't come with a warning label. Even the iPhone, we didn't realize the impact it would have until it already had. AI, it's no different. And right now, in this very moment, there are people using it to move faster, think clearer, and get ahead, while others are still debating whether it's real or if it's just hype. That gap between curiosity and hesitation is where entire careers are won and lost. Now I can start throwing numbers at you. I could quote some studies. I could show you a bunch of headlines. But I don't think that's why you all came here today. I think you're here because you want to understand how it actually fits into your world, into your firm, into your people, and into the way you lead. And the truth is, it already does. So before we go any further, let's test that out. See how close we are to the future. How many people in here have used AI in the past 24 hours? All right, okay. Maybe it was Siri giving you driving directions. Maybe it was Spotify recommending a playlist. Or maybe it was your GPS quietly routing you around traffic before you even noticed. See, we don't even think of it as AI anymore. It's invisible, it's automatic, it's normal. But they're shaping your choices every single day. And that's where the real story begins. Not in some futuristic sci-fi moment, but right here in the background of our daily lives. Come on in, guys. Y'all are fine. Plenty of room. Y'all get the front row seats. I'm not roasting anybody today, though. Come on in. All right. So AI is not waiting to arrive. It's already quietly been working beside you, influencing the world around you. You just haven't had to call it by its name. And that's why this conversation matters. Because the second you start to see it is the second you can start to shape it and lead it. But here's the thing. AI itself isn't what's coming for your job. The real threat, the person who knows how to use it. That's your competition. Not the robot, not the algorithm, the HR administrator across town who learned how to use the tools, and they can do in 5 minutes what still takes you 2 hours. If that sounds dramatic, good. It's intentional. Because it's not about replacement, it's about relevance. It's about who learns and who waits. The difference between adopting and becoming obsolete. The crazy part, the tools are free, right? Most tools are free. You're available in your app store, right? So the question isn't whether AI will change HR. It's whether you'll be part of that change or you'll get left watching on the sidelines. So let me share a quick story, bring that difference a little more crystal clear. One payroll administrator told me she spends 2 hours every pay cycle reviewing the reports, making sure things are accurate, making sure there's no errors in her payroll file. Every single cycle, week over week, month after month. One day she tried an AI assistant, not to replace her, but to help her. 5 minutes later, it flagged every outlier. She still validated it, she owned it, but she got 2 hours of her life back. She didn't lose her job. She made her job better, and now picture her counterpart. Same title, same company size, still taking those 2 hours to do those manual checks, the old-fashioned way. Which one looks stronger to leadership? Sir?
It's funny, I never heard it put that way. This is really interesting to think about. And it takes me back to the early 80s when I was first coming in. And it's the same thing when they came out with Microsoft Word.
Yes.
Excel and all. It was the same thing. People doing it manually. You
Yeah.
have to worry about the people who knew how to use a spreadsheet or knew how to use a Word. Never heard it framed quite that way, but so that's been very interesting.
I appreciate that, and I will tell you, I mentioned, if you heard me earlier when we were first starting, I was in the military, and we used memos. Remember memos before email? Pass them around the desks, here's the updates. The Army still uses memos today. But that's exactly how you have to frame it. So that's where you have to ask yourself, are those manual processes that you're doing or that they're doing, right? Does that make them more promotable or less promotable because someone else is doing it quicker? You know, which ones are learning skills that actually future-proof their job, their career, right? Because technology replaces tasks, not people. No, we don't need a runner anymore to pass out the memos. We got the emails. We got it. We still have fax machines. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so AI didn't take her job. It just amplified her impact. Okay? So, all that to say, I'm Robert Tabary. I've been working in HR, technology, and sales with organizations just like yours, law firms, service providers, mid-market to enterprise businesses, who are all trying to make sense of technology and modernize their processes without losing that human touch. And the truth that I've learned over that time, if it's one thing I had to take away from that decade of doing that, is that technology doesn't fix people problems as much as we'd love it to. You know, let's say you're with ADP today at your firm, and you're like, well, it's just not working. I'm going to switch to iSolved. But if you don't change the processes, if you don't have the right people in place, the technology isn't going to fix it. It just gives you leverage. We have to know how to use the technology. So today, I'm not here to actually show you how AI works under the hood. I'm here to show you how you can work with AI, how it becomes part of your world. Because this isn't about keeping up with technology. It's about staying relevant as a leader, as a professional, as a problem solver. And make no mistake, HR is at the center of this shift, because that's where the stake is in technology. It's trust, it's people, and it's the future of work itself. So let's talk a little bit about how that matters more now, more than ever. AI adoption isn't coming, it's already here. According to Gartner, 70% of businesses are already using or experimenting with AI. And I'll tell you this, your employees, they're already using it too. Maybe they're using ChatGPT to summarize meeting notes. Maybe they're drafting job postings in Cloud or Copilot. Maybe they're using Google Gemini to help them with that policy email that you thought they wrote from scratch. Your competitors, they're testing it too. Your vendors, your clients, your peers at other firms, they're all testing AI. The risk isn't that AI is going to arrive. It's that you don't realize it's already here in the building with us today. So the question is simple. Do you step in and guide it? Or do you let someone else do it? Someone who maybe doesn't care so much about compliance and privacy and ethics. That's the moment we're in right now. Because AI isn't a technology problem, it's a leadership problem. And that's exactly what makes this an opportunity for us today. So let's start with the part of HR where AI has already made the biggest waves, hiring. Let's be honest, hiring is where AI, it's really making the biggest impact. Think about it, how it's being used. We'd spend hours, sometimes days, writing job descriptions, posting them, screening resumes, scheduling interviews. And now, AI can draft that job posting in seconds. It can read thousands of resumes in minutes. It can generate structured interview questions, even predict candidate fits. It sounds incredible, right? Until it's not. Because that moment we start trusting it without understanding it, that's where it cracks. That's where things can start going wrong if it's not done right. A few years ago, Amazon, anybody remember this? 2014-ish, Amazon created an internal AI recruiting tool. They tried to make hiring more efficient. Come on in. You're fine. It worked beautifully on paper, right? It utilized something shocking, though. It realized something shocking. The system was quietly downgrading women as candidates. Why? Because it had learned from historical data from Amazon's hiring processes in a male-dominated industry. So what did the AI learn? That male resumes look better than women's resumes. They scrapped the tool, thankfully. Not because AI failed. It learned our biases. It's a mirror showing us ourselves. So it doesn't create it, it just reflects it. And that's the part where HR has to own. Because HR doesn't get in early. If they don't get in early to train it, to test it, to question it, we end up letting technology automate our blind spots. That's the cautionary tale. But let's talk about the opportunity. It's not all doom and gloom. So imagine instead, you have a mid-sized law firm, they need to fill 10 paralegal roles fast. It usually takes 45 days to get those positions filled. This time, HR decides to use an AI assistant. In minutes, it drafts 10 consistent, compliant job descriptions, no jargon, no bias. HR reviews them, makes small edits, and posts them the same day. Applications start running in almost immediately, and instead of spending days reviewing every resume manually, AI pre-screened those jobs based on the criteria specific to that job, and HR still makes that final decision. But they're not starting from scratch, they're starting from a very qualified short list of candidates to filter in. And the results, the hiring time dropped from 45 days down to 28. Candidate satisfaction goes up, and in HR teams, instead of burning out, they get focused on fit and experience. No one got replaced, which is the best part. Everyone got better, and that's what happens when you use AI instead of fear. So, first big takeaway, AI doesn't replace the recruiter. It frees the recruiter from all that busy work, from all the minutia, the repetition, the noise, so they can focus on what actually matters: judgment, fit, and people. That's the magic zone, where HR gets to do HR again, people stuff. If you don't learn to use it that way, someone else will, and they'll move faster. So it's not a race against the machines, it's a race against the mindset. The people who embrace it, they're the ones with the curiosity. You don't have to have a lot of money to start doing things like this. Because once you start using AI before hiring, you could use it for managing people, retaining talent, understanding culture. That's where things really start to shift, right? So let's talk about how that works with employee management. Think about this for a second. The data that HR touches every single day, right? You got performance information, you have engagement surveys, payroll data, training logs, attendance records. You have endless amounts of data. There's no question about that. It's all about how do you use it. Performance reviews can be kind of just sitting there. So how do you use that data? For this problem, humans kind of get tired of spreadsheets. But you know who doesn't? AI. AI loves spreadsheets. They'll live in spreadsheets all day long. But here's the problem, right? If you don't have everything fed into an AI system, you're still just going to have data silos, and you're not going to be able to do anything with it. You simply look at the data and go, what's missing here? AI shows you what's missing, and sometimes what it finds can completely change the way you lead. All right, let me show you what that looks like in practice here. There's a company called InfoSeps, right? They helped with data and analytics for other organizations. They specifically helped this global bank improve retention and engagement. They had thousands of data points, performance ratings, exit interviews, engagement surveys, but no clear picture of what was actually going on. So InfoSeps helped them build an AI model to connect the dots. It didn't just say, people are leaving. They already knew that. It said who's leaving, when are they leaving, and why are they leaving, which is most important, so you can get in front of it and stop them from leaving. They discovered something small but powerful. Teams that lacked regular check-ins with managers had double the turnover rate than those that did. That's it. Simple human connection. AI didn't fix the problem. They revealed the problem, and humans could step in. So over 3 years, the bank saved more than $2 million, not by cutting staff, but by improving engagement and retention. That's where AI gets it done correct. It doesn't replace decisions. It surfaces insights that make decisions smarter. The machines reveal patterns. Humans decide what to do with them. That's not automation, it's augmentation. So now let's bring that closer to your world. Picture a full-service law firm, 250 employees, attorneys, paralegals, administrative staff. Turnover among mid-level associates and paralegals has crept up to around 12%. The managing partner suspects it's burnout, but he can't prove it. So HR starts testing an AI model that analyzes workload data. Things like billable hours, time entries, client complexity, engagement surveys. Each month, the model quietly flags teams where hours are spiking and morale is slipping. No alerts, no panic, just patterns. HR and the practice leads, they review the insights, they rebalance caseloads, and they check in with those teams personally. They talk about workload, mentorship, career pathing before people quit. 9 months later, turnover drops from 12% to 7%. Client response time improves, and employee satisfaction goes up. The firm learned something important. AI didn't fix culture. It just gave them visibility before burnout became attrition. That's the difference between reactive and being proactive. That's what responsible AI looks like. So let's talk about engagement for a second. Engagement has always been HR's holy grail. It's also been its biggest headache. So we've all seen the annual engagement surveys, right? Yep, you send them out, you wait for weeks for the data to come back. By the time you get the report, the data's not good anymore. Things have changed. It's like taking someone's temperature once a year and saying everything's okay. AI flips that model for you, right? Instead of a one-time snapshot, it turns engagement into living, breathing realities. Real-time data, continuous listening. And when you have that kind of visibility, everything changes. So let's talk about this shipping company called Evergas. They figured out the smart way. They started using AI-driven analytics to track engagement every single week instead of once a year. Now, instead of waiting for someone to quit to find out if they're unhappy, managers got alerted when engagement started to dip. They could act right then and there, not months later. And here's what happened. Turnover dropped, productivity went up, and people said something really interesting. They didn't just feel measured, they felt heard. Visibility didn't make HR robotic, it made HR responsive. Because the goal isn't to automate empathy, it's to give you better timing. And that's the key. AI doesn't replace connection, it helps you notice when that connection is missing. And when you notice earlier, you can lead earlier. All right, so now imagine this. A professional service firm decided to run short, anonymous pulse surveys every 2 weeks. Simple questions, open comment boxes, nothing fancy. Just an ongoing check-in. AI scans the language of those responses across departments. After a few weeks, it started flagging words like burnout, overwhelmed, exhausted. They were all coming from one particular team. So instead of sending another memo, remember those? And launching generic wellness campaigns, HR leadership sat down with the team face to face. They listened, they asked questions, and they made changes, reassign a few projects, support staff, adjust the workload. Then they check back 60 days later. The burnout signals drop, engagement rises, and turnover slows. And here's the part that matters. Employees don't say, wow, we love AI, right? They're like, oh, AI did this. No. They said leadership actually listened to us. And that's powerful. The power of pairing data with empathy. AI didn't fix burnout, HR did. But AI gave them the flashlight so they could see the problem before it got worse. So here's the lesson in all that. AI doesn't give you empathy, it gives you visibility. And with visibility, HR finally has a chance to act before the damage is done. You can't fix what you can't see. And for the first time, we can actually see it. This isn't about reports taking over HR. It's about HR finally having the insight to lead proactively instead of reactively. Because when you see the problem sooner, you have a chance to change that story. So before we get too inspired, we have to talk a little bit about the other side of AI again. I think this is really important. This is the part that makes HR and legal administrators a little stand up a little straighter when they're listening. So because every innovation has its real risks, HR has to show up for those risks in big ways and recognize them immediately. One of the biggest ones, bias in hiring. AI systems can unintentionally amplify the bias. We talked about that earlier, already present in that data, right? If the system leans from the workplace that's historically male, non-diverse, it might start replicating that bias. And the hiring decision goes and follows that without ever meaning to do that. So that's number one. Privacy breaches. AI runs on data, period. And a lot of data is sensitive. Client data, right? Anybody care about their client data? Yeah. So employee records are another thing, performance notes, even health information. If those tools aren't governed properly, it's not hackers you have to worry about. It's an accidental misuse. Trust and transparency gaps is another. So employees want to know what's happening behind the curtain. Who's watching? Why? What's being collected? How's it used? So being transparent. When those questions don't have clear, defined answers, you lose trust. Fear fills that silence. But these challenges aren't reasons to avoid AI. They're reasons to implement them responsibly, with governance, transparency, and real communication about how AI supports your people, not just watches them. Because when people understand the intent behind the technology, trust follows. Okay, and here's why that last point, trust, matters so much. Research firm in Finland studied employees working under AI systems designed to read emotions, facial recognition at their desk, cameras. They tried to measure engagement. They tried to measure stress, a mood at work, if you will. Now, you'd think the employees would be worried about accuracy, right? About the system misreading them, maybe not understanding correctly what their facial expressions meant. They weren't. What they feared the most was inaccuracy. It was opacity. They wanted to know, how does it work? What is it measuring? What happens to the data? In short, they wanted transparency. Employees said rather than work with an imperfect AI that they didn't understand, a black box system, right, that maybe makes flawless predictions that they couldn't explain, they wanted transparency. So here's the takeaway. Invest just as much effort in explaining the AI as you do implementing it. Because trust isn't built through performance, it's built through understanding. That's how you make AI adoption sustainable. So let me show you how that plays out in real life. Imagine employees writing a performance improvement plan for something sensitive, names, details, tones that matter, right? They look at, let me sound professional, and paste it into ChatGPT. That's harmless, right? Yeah. Except now the plan, names, internal issues, private company details, lives inside a public model. It's part of a data set that you can't delete. Not malicious, not intentional, just careless. But ignorance doesn't equal innocence. We all know that one. Y'all live that every day. That's the lawsuit waiting to happen. And that's the risk HR doesn't want. If you can't assume people know how to safely share information, you have to teach them, you have to lead them. Because AI doesn't remove the need for leadership, it increases it. All right, this is where HR administrators, everyone in this room, you become super essential. Because you're not just using the systems, you're not a user, you are the gatekeeper, you're the guardrails. IT, right? Guardrails. You understand the compliance, you understand the process, you understand your people, so your job isn't to block AI, it's to guide it. That means three things. All right, one, evaluate vendors. Don't fall for the marketing hype. All right? Ask the hard questions. What data are you using? How is it stored? Who has access? Number two, write a clear policy. Very clear policy. Have AI write the clear policy. Why not? Something practical, nothing too crazy, 20-page legal document, right, that nobody reads. But but maybe something real, like a guide that employees can understand. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Here's why. Very simple. 3, educate your managers. They're the ones, most likely to accidentally put your firm at risk. That moment doesn't reduce HR's role, it amplifies it. Again, putting you in control of the controls. Because when technology moves fast, people look to the ones who can slow things down long enough and think clearly. That's you. So let me tell you what happens when leadership doesn't show up. Mid-sized firm, no AI policy, no oversight, no one's paying attention. One employee just starts using ChatGPT to write client emails. Another uses it to draft a contract. Nobody realizes until months later. But then confidential information is scattered across prompts, drafts, and public models. The IT team panics. Legal gets involved. Leadership blames HR. And here's the truth. That wasn't a technology problem. It was a governance problem. If you don't create the rules, employees will create the rules for you. And you probably won't like their version. AI governance doesn't start in IT, it starts in HR. Because HR understands behavior, risk, accountability better than anyone. And when HR steps up, everybody else follows. All right, we talked about risk. Let's talk about the reward. Because while headlines focus on fear, the day-to-day reality is a lot more hopeful. Let's get practical with this. Where AI actually helps HR today, here's where it shines. We talked about this, drafting job descriptions. Much faster, summarizing meeting notes, my favorite. Writing first-pass policy drafts, we all have it in our head, let's get it out. And then refine it from there. Analyzing survey results. How many surveys go unanswered? How many surveys responses go unanalyzed? Or at least accurately. And then automating compliance checklists. These are big wins for HR today. Very easy too, very affordable. None of it replaces your current processes. None of it replaces your current HR technology if you don't want it to. None of it requires a data scientist. Any Python coders in here? I know we got a few probably. No? Yeah, you don't need to code. It's okay. It just requires that curiosity we talked about earlier. Because the first time you use one of these tools, even a small tool, you realize it's not about the technology, it's about the time you save. They could just work on travel and speed that up for you. All right, so you get the time to think. You get that time to lead. You get the time back to focus on people again. Let the robots handle the robot stuff, and the people handle the people stuff. That's what AI gives you if you use it intentionally. It gives you your time back. Okay, so if you take one thing away from today, let it be this. Don't wait for permission to try something. Pick one process that drives you crazy and start there. What do you do over and over and over that you wish you didn't have to do anymore? And what would you do at that time once you automate that? All right, I'll give you a real example here. All right, so picture this. 300-person law firm, multiple offices. Every single day, HR is getting bombarded with questions like, what's our PTO policy? Anybody get that one? Yeah. When does open enrollment start? Can I work remotely next Friday? It's consistent, it's constant, it's distracting. It's a necessary evil until you can automate it. 5 HR administrators spent 30 plus hours a week answering the same questions again and again. So the firm decided on an internal AI chatbot, a secure one, built for them and with their HR system. Employees started typing questions into the bot. How many vacation days do I have left? Where do I find my benefits guide? And it pulls the answers directly to them from policies and from your databases. At the same time, HR uses AI to draft policy updates and fax pages. Not facts, facts. Keeping everything current and consistent. Within 3 months, the chatbots handled 70% of those repetitive HR questions. That's 200 hours a quarter given back to the team. It's a lot of time. So what happened next? HR started showing up in the strategy meetings. They started building the culture they've been putting off, not just fielding emails. They started leading. And here's the fun part. Employees actually trust the bot because HR wrote the rules and HR trained it. It's not about robots taking our jobs. It's about humans designing a better workflow. That's what responsible adoption looks like. So if you remember nothing else from this section, remember this. AI isn't replacing people. It's freeing people to be more human, to think critically. Yes, sir.
Well,
No, you're good.
yeah. So we're at the point where we're assimilating and embracing the free AI stuff.
Yeah.
We're appreciating the value and the power of AI in general.
Mm-hmm.
But we're skeptical of the vendors who are trying to push the high-cost AI platforms.
Right.
That's kind of where we are now. We're happy to use AI
Yeah.
use it freely, where GPS is better and the internet is better, et cetera, et cetera. And we know it's coming into the future, but now we got all these vendors saying, use it for time entry, use it for legal summaries, use it for this, use it for that. I'm like, and the cost is expensive. The issue is how we evaluate when and how best to assimilate that versus, because we're all happy to assimilate the free stuff
Yeah.
and use it in the best manner possible.
Sure.
And we know it's the future. And like you said, it's great to how you framed it about not replacing us, just learning to use it. And it reminded me of when I started, and there were plenty of technologies, email. I mean, it wasn't even email when I started. But that's the thing. How do we then take that next step and decide which ones have the right value now that are worth paying for?
Yeah. No, great question. So the question is, how do you evaluate the software, essentially return on investment? Is it worth it, right? It really just comes down to the time you save. If you can't quantify that, if you can't measure it, it's probably not worth it.
But there's two different measures. There's measuring the ROI and measuring the ROI that the lawyers agree is real.
That's true.
Two different measurements.
Yeah. So in short, the time that you save is where I would start, and then go from there, and then shave that down a little bit so that people actually believe. Yes.
I actually liked the statement that you just made, how, because that's what AI does, is it's saving us time. I always look at my job as, half my job is regurgitating data in a language that my superiors understand, or my supervisors understand. And a lot of it is like a software should be created that just thinks like I do and just retranslates that data so that they can understand it better. And basically that's what AI is.
Yeah.
AI is. And then I say to myself, then I spend the rest of my life like actually making decisions that only a human can make. And that's exactly what you're saying. Like the more AI you use, the more time you'll have being able to be human. And I say about my boss all the time, like if he could just read his calendar, like 3 people would be at work. Like you'd laugh, but I'm serious. I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to send him reminders for his calendar because his assistant doesn't start until 10.
Yeah, wow.
And every 15 minutes, I'm sending him another text message, and I'm always beating myself up against a wall because I'm always like, I don't understand how this is still happening.
Yeah.
I didn't go to business school to send this guy text messages about what his next meeting is, when it's on the calendar in front of him.
Yeah.
And he has it every Monday morning. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's just amazing. And so, I just feel like as soon as either that generation retires or that generation accepts the use of AI to realize that, for starters, the number of salaries you can save the firm, and just how much, like you said, be human, spend more time making human decisions, empower the people that work for you to help you make those decisions. I think that's the message we have to send.
Yeah, I like what you said. If they retire or get on board, right? It's interesting. I had this weird thing happen to me, and I always try and find different use cases for AI. And I had this elderly gentleman knock on my door randomly, and he says, "Hey, there's this planner you have out I've been looking for. It's just empty. We didn't have a plan in it." And so he's like, "Can I buy that from you?" And I'm like, "Let me talk to my wife. It's not my call." My wife says, "Give it to him. He wants it, right?" I was like, "Okay, great." So he's like, "Man, you really put my faith back in humanity." And then we started talking, and he started talking about how he likes to speak Spanish. And it's like, I think he's probably like 85, 90 years old. And I was like, and he's like, but I don't have anybody to speak Spanish with anymore. And so I pulled up ChatGPT. And I was like, have you used an AI chatbot yet? And he goes, no. I said, check this out. Went to voice mode. And I was like, go ahead, speak to it. And he just, 2 sentences in Spanish. Seconds later, it talks back to him. And he's like, what the heck? And he goes back and forth. And he keeps going back. And the smile on this man's face. He got a planner. And he learned how to use ChatGPT that day. So that story, all to say that they don't have to retire, but if they learn how to use it, they unlock a whole new life for them. And so that's where you, as leaders, can encourage them to start small, like I did, and be like, hey, how about you just talk to a virtual assistant and speak Spanish? Keep your Spanish alive. He said he used to live in Spain. So good story there. But thank you for sharing. He took the planter, and we actually gave him another one as well, because we have this thing where we can't keep plants alive. Yes, sir.
No, I was with you.
Oh, you're there. Okay, thank you. I'm not the only
I
one.
have a question.
Yes.
Or, I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but my brain is still stuck on this. When you said, one of the examples that you gave where, I'll just speak to my purpose. Can I take my office manual and put it into a closed platform and everyone can answer their questions?
Yeah, the answer is yes. So the first thing is you want to have, like you said, a closed-off platform. So you want to buy a license with a provider that you trust, and then you can load all of your policies and procedures into that chatbot, and then people can just ask that question. Whatever is in the policies, because like what do they do before chat is they had to search the policy.
They call HR.
Yeah, call HR. They didn't even bother.
They
Yeah.
just call.
Now, AI is getting so good, it used to be you had to type in your question. Now you can ask it questions, voice, natural language, right? So shameless plug here, iSolved has a really cool analytics tool that you can type in exactly what you want to see, and it will search your entire database and find that information within seconds, and then give you predictions based on that information. I'll give you an example, turnover. Hey, we have large turnover. Why am I losing so many employees? Natural language. Nothing special, no prompt, no like, tell me all these things. Just, why am I losing so many employees? And it will give you 6 reasons and what you can do. Increase your benefits, increase your salary by 3%, do this, reduce that, change that, all within seconds. That's where we're at today. And that came out a year ago, guys. And so where it's going from here is amazing. And again, not replacing what you do. No, like you said, no one went into this line of work to sit in front of spreadsheets all day. I had one lady, when I was working a little bit smaller market, she's like, well, that's my job. I'm like, that's your job, to just answer emails all day. Like, what else would you want to do with your job? Like, what could you do? Where can you make a bigger impact for your organization? So yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing, everybody. All right, where are we at on time, Donna? We still got oh, you're getting it now? Okay, perfect. All right, so back to what we can do. We can be more human, as we've kind of been talking about here. We can think critically. We can collaborate. We can make better decisions. That's the point of all of this, again. So the goal of HR isn't to automate people out of the processes. It's to amplify what makes us great in the first place. Empathy, insights, and connections. That's what technology can't replace. And when you see it that way, you stop fearing AI, and you start leading with it. Now that we've covered what's possible, let's talk about how we can get that momentum back in your office. Forgot I had a slideshow there for a second. All right, let's get tactical. Because by this point you're thinking, this all sounds good and all great, but where can I even start? Let's make that simple. Here's what you can do on Monday morning. Pick one thing. If you have paper in front of you, write it down. Something repetitive. Something that eats your time, but adds little value to your day. Maybe it's summarizing your meetings. Maybe it's formatting job descriptions. Maybe it's tracking training completions. Whatever it is, start there. Step 2, test one tool. Don't overhaul your entire tech stack. That's going to cause disruption. Try an AI writing assistant. Try a meeting summarizer. I was talking about Otter earlier. I use Gong at iSolved for our meeting recordings. Try a survey analyzer, plenty out there. Then step 3, track the outcomes. Measure, prove the ROI. How much time did you save? What did you learn? Did it change the quality of work? Good example, emails. Anybody like writing emails? Anybody use AI to write emails? Okay. Those people, me included, who've used AI to write emails, will you ever write an email again?
No.
Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that you're not communicating with that person. It just means that this is something that brings very little value to you typing the email. So speak that email into truth and then have AI refine it. Yeah.
So selfish question.
Yeah.
What's your take, the current resources that are available, which are the ones you think, between ChatGPT and Copilot and this?
Yeah.
What resources do you feel are the best ones to start embracing?
I'd start with a chatbot, right? That's where I started. I started with ChatGPT about 1.5 years ago. I remember my first time. It's like yesterday. Honestly, I don't remember my first time. It's so embedded in my life now. It's like, man, when did I start that again? So yeah, try just a chatbot. But again, when we talk in regards to your firm, license one. So iSolve licensed a chatbot that we use internally for our prompting. And our IT team builds out prompts for us, so I don't have to figure out what the heck to prompt it. Now it's voice activated, so I can just talk to it. I try not to be too mean, because they're watching. They've seen Terminator. I'm hoping I get a handshake and have a nice day. So yeah, that's what I would say. Just a chatbot, start there. But again, when you're talking about how do you implement at your firm, make sure you're licensed, it's protected. Be safe, right? But be smart. All right, so waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for permission, that's how you get left behind. Again, 70% of businesses are experimenting with AI today. And if you're not, you will be left behind. So AI rewards curiosity, not caution. And the people who start testing it now will be the ones that everyone comes to the answers for later, unfortunately. But that's leadership, right? So here's the bottom line. AI isn't the enemy. The enemy stands still while the world moves forward. So don't be afraid to be curious. Experiment. Set the guardrails. Lead. Because the future of HR and legal administration and every operational function isn't artificial, it's amplified. AI doesn't take your job. AI takes away the excuses for not evolving. And the people who learn these tools first, thoughtfully, responsibly, creatively, those are the ones that will still be standing when the dust settles. That's where you come in. Okay, so we have, I think, a few minutes for.
You could. We got 15 minutes.
Oh, that's great. I love it. We got a few minutes for questions here, right? So let's see. What is one of the most curious things with AI today? I know we've covered a couple questions already, but anybody else have some curiosity when it comes to how they would use AI? Don't be shy. The ones who speak up are the ones who are leading.
You've done an excellent job of reframing me from more worried to less, more excited and less worried. I came in being more worried and less excited. You flipped the script.
I love that.
Now I'm more excited and less worried. I might not feel the same way as I get.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess. Donna.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Like, I started using OpenAI.
Okay.
I just started maybe a couple of weeks ago, where I always have somebody edit what I write.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm sending it to the executive committee. And I never put names, I don't put anything. This is a draft. Can you make it sound better? And what I get back, and you read some of my emails. They're like,
I get so mad. I'm like, wow, I'm so dumb.
that's all. But it's wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to share something.
Okay.
I started using it about a year and a half ago, and I think it's absolutely amazing. I teach part-time at New York University and also Fordham, and you can teach, they can create a lesson plan for a class.
Yeah.
You have to do very, very little, and I'm almost at the point where I don't want to use textbooks anymore, because that information is just there.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. You can teach anything today
Yeah.
using AI.
That's totally true. I actually, this same talk that I'm doing today, I got invited to do at Tulane University in New Orleans next month. So they're teaching an entire class of HR folks, and they're like, we need to lead with AI, and they wanted me to come in. I did this previously in New Orleans as well. Yes?
So I started using ChatGPT.
Great.
The paid version about a year and a half ago. And what I did is I was looking for a new position. So I took my resume and I took the job description that I really wanted. And I had them mirror it for the SEO compatibility so that I would come up.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I did that. And I got the job.
Round of applause.
Excellent use of that. It's amazing what it could do. And of course, keep it real. I don't like to fluff my resume. It's like keep
Yeah,
it original,
yeah.
but the talent job, but just change the wording so that SEO is picking it up and it puts me on the top.
Yeah, it's not like it's using words that we don't know.
Right.
Like when you
It
do a
was what I
crossword
did,
puzzle,
but it-
Yeah.
the answers are all words we know. You just don't think of them. Like, oh yeah, of course, that's exactly what that means. But you don't think of it. So it's the same thing with ChatGPT, like SEO. That's what SEO is. Search engine optimization. It's looking for those keywords, and they're not like SAT words. Like, hold on, I need my dictionary before I send this email out. I want to make sure that the message I'm sending is in line with what my intention is. It's not like that. It's just how it's grammatically put together, to make it more easily understood.
The sequence of the
Yeah,
words.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there was a study done where they followed HR or recruiters' eyes when they were reviewing resumes, and they realized it was only looking at the first very top for like 5 seconds, a quick scan of the about me, glossed over the skills, down to the first experience, and that was it, every single time.
To me, they'll send me a cover letter. I don't want to.
Yeah. What are you gonna? You know what I'm gonna do with that cover letter? I'm gonna put it in ChatGPT, and that's telling me to read.
3 seconds, like, okay, no, yeah.
Yeah.
It just is. You're getting so many resumes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
In the end, it's not about the resume, it's the personality of the person.
Right.
Whether or not they're a good fit. So if a resume seems good enough that a recruiter's sending it to you, then they're worth an interview. And right away, you know whether or not they're gonna fit in with the firm. And it makes no difference what the resume looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And you got to beat the system, right? You got to get those SEO skills, and so that you don't get flagged out of even seeing the recruiter these days. I've seen videos of folks doing interviews on Zoom using AI to answer questions, right? Actually, it's telling me what to say right now. Yeah. That'd be cool, though, right? That's the only thing. Like, you can't replace speaking yet.
I have a question in terms of what you said about
Yeah.
AI is very exciting. I use it.
Okay.
About that it does not replace people.
Mhm.
However, there are quite a few reports of AI being used to replace people.
Yeah.
So, how can we as HR professionals, our jobs is to retain talent, help individuals, train them if we're taking them out of a job to make sure that they cure themselves another opportunity. But that seems to be lacking across the board, where I'm hearing, for example, that post office personnel, even bank tellers, are going to be replaced with systems.
Yeah.
But there's no plan in place in terms of what are you going to do with those people if they're going to end up in unemployment. Or they're going to, there's no, everyone's excited and running for this AI, but there's no planning in place. So as an HR professional, I can see how many issues we're going to have down the line. From society issues where people are not being trained and can't find jobs, to organizations and employers being so focused on this new way of doing things that they're eliminating the people piece, which HR is all about people. So if we can't have that and we can't control that, what options or what should we be doing now to ensure that we address that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what could we do so that we're not firing everybody essentially, right? Or they're not losing their jobs. So I think the first important thing to think about is that AI, again, doesn't replace people, but it does replace tasks. So when you're looking at your job descriptions, what tasks in those job descriptions are gonna get automated, right? Is it all of them? Then that's the time where you start upskilling that employee. So having a learning management system in place, having a career path for them to do different things that wouldn't be automated. I'll give you an example. So a consulting firm does a lot of analysis, right? Analyzing data over and over. That's literally what they do, right? And then they create a PowerPoint. AI could do all of that. Literally can analyze all the data. Let's say it's customer service analytics. And then it can put it into a PowerPoint, tell you everything that's wrong with it, and present it to you. So that job would be eliminated, but what's not eliminated is the actual consultant on site, presenting that data to those folks, listening to them and hearing them. So making sure that you can upskill your analysts so they can start using the AI tools and then be the ones presenting the data and doing the consulting. So the short answer is upskill, making sure you have a good program. And I will tell you, there's a lot of studies out there that were done that says a lot of employees are leaving organizations because there is no career pathing for them. So mail rooms, anybody got mail rooms? Is there a mail room in this building? Is there still? Probably the unions. Anyway, most mail rooms have been eliminated because people aren't getting as much mail anymore, right? So they had to pivot to what are they going to do now? So yeah, job tasks get replaced all the time, before AI, well before AI, and now we just have to be smart about how we're making sure our employees know what's good for them to do, and we put them in that direction and put it in front of them so that they can actually perform and stay retained. So thank you for the question.
And how do you align leadership to make sure they align with HR? Because at the bottom, at the end of the day, they're looking at budget.
Data.
Saving,
It's all about data.
I don't care about that. So take those three out. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Where, we're on the other side going, there are people. We need to make sure we have a plan in place to exit them out of the firm.
Yeah.
But there are sometimes that alignment does not exist because they just get rid of them, don't care. It's really the request that's being made to HR.
Yeah. So you have to back up decisions with data, right? Because everything else is just a vibe or a feeling. So making sure that you can have a dashboard that's an executive level dashboard that shows that people are leaving because we're not upskilling them, or people are leaving because there's no chance for career pathing here, right? Those two, just because we're talking about them already. There's many other things and why, but so not just asking one question in an exit interview, having AI analyze those exit interviews and really understand what's driving people to leave, because that costs money. When people leave your organization, voluntarily, unexpectedly, you have to refill that position, and so there's a lot of calculations out there on what that costs, but we know it costs money. And it causes burnout. So the side effect of not having that position filled is someone else has to do that job. So just making sure that leadership has that information, not just a spreadsheet, right? Because we hate spreadsheets, but having a powerful tool that can show them, and maybe in real time they can ask those questions and get in their buy-in. It's all about getting the leadership buy-in. It starts with everybody in this room. Okay, so I got 5 minutes left here. Let's see if I've covered everything. I guess we could do one more question. Anybody else have anything else that they wanted to share, or yes?
I have a question.
Okay.
So, I'm sure that you've all seen that attorneys are doing a lot more of their own work. I've been working for law firms for 25 years when attorneys wouldn't allow you to put a computer in their offices because it would take up too much space. Now, attorneys don't even have their legal assistants enter timesheets for them anymore. They do it all themselves. So that's an example of AI taking over tasks that, the staff used to do. So legal assistants now are worried, like, oh my God, like AI is taking over my job. But yet, legal assistants at one time, there was one legal assistant to each part. Whereas now, we have legal assistants who work for like 18 associates, and they can do that because the associates hardly call them with anything. So I think that AI is also empowering those who want to be empowered. But those who are afraid of AI at that level, you need to worry about. Because if you have nothing to do, you're not being proactive. You're being reactive.
Yep.
Don't wait for someone to give you something to do. Introduce to the attorney your capabilities, your skills, so that you can help empower them also.
Yeah.
How to help them do their job better.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
Yeah, it goes back to that story.
It's a learning lesson for everyone.
Yeah, the first story I shared about the law firm, that the administrator was doing the manual task, but then was like, I could do this quicker and faster, and proved it. They're not going to get fired for doing that. They're going to get promoted.
And there's so much free tutorials out there, like YouTube, you know.
Yeah, YouTube, love it. I have a channel, follow me.
Learn anything.
Exactly. I'm like, I not to be so one second.
In order to be on Instagram or whatever happening they do, spend the time, 20 minutes a day to teach yourself something.
All right, I'm going to wrap things up really quick, guys, because we want to make sure we end on time, or Donna's going to kick me out and never invite me back. So, guys, on the screen here, I have my contact information. There's also resources to you that you can download. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. But again, I'm Robert Tabary. I'm with iSolved. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, please connect with me. Let's keep exploring how AI can be practical, responsible, and how it can be human. Because that shift, that moment, it's not happening to us, it's happening for us. It's ours to lead. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.